Imagine a moment, midnight on August 15th, 1947. A new nation is born, but it's a birth marked by both immense joy and unimaginable sorrow. This is the story of India's independence, a saga stretching over centuries, filled with heroes, sacrifice, and decisions that would change the world forever. How did one of the world's oldest civilizations break free from the mightiest empire on earth? Let's journey back in time. Our story begins not with armies, but with merchants. In the early 17th century, the British East India Company arrived in India seeking spices and trade. At the time, India was under the prosperous Mughal Empire. But as the Mughal power began to fade in the 18th century, the company saw its chance. It wasn't just trading anymore. It was playing politics, pitting local rulers against each other and using its private army to gain control. The decisive Battle of Plassey in 1757 is often seen as the turning point, marking the beginning of British dominance. Over the next century, through treaties, annexations, and wars, the company expanded its territory until it controlled vast swaths of the subcontinent. This wasn't just a change of rulers. It was a fundamental shift in Indian society. The British introduced new systems of administration, law, and education. They built railways, telegraphs, and canals. While these developments connected the country in new ways, they were primarily designed to serve British interests, to transport raw materials out of India and move troops to quell any dissent. Indian industries, especially textiles, were systematically dismantled to make way for British goods, leading to widespread economic hardship. Famines became tragically common, with millions perishing while grain was exported. The simmering resentment against this foreign rule and exploitation finally boiled over in 1857. What started as a mutiny by Indian soldiers, or sepoys, in the company's army quickly escalated into a widespread rebellion across northern India. Known as the Sepoy Mutiny, or India's First War of Independence, it was a brutal and bloody conflict. Though ultimately crushed by the British, it was a massive shock to the system. The rebellion spelled the end of the East India Company. In 1858, the British Crown took direct control, and India officially became a part of the British Empire, ruled by a viceroy. The British Raj had begun. The aftermath of 1857 saw the rise of a new kind of resistance. Educated Indians, many of whom had studied in British-style institutions, began to form political organizations. In 1885, the Indian National Congress was founded. Initially, its goals were modest, seeking greater Indian participation in governance. But as the 20th century dawned, the call for self-rule or Swaraj grew louder. The partition of Bengal in 1905 by Viceroy Curzon was a classic divide-and-rule tactic, but it backfired, sparking massive protests and boycotts. It also led to the formation of the Muslim League in 1906. Which initially aimed to protect Muslim interests, but would later play a crucial role in the subcontinent's future. Then, a man returned to India from South Africa in 1915, and he would change the course of history. His name was Mohandas Karamchand Gandhi. He brought with him a powerful new weapon, satyagraha, or nonviolent civil disobedience. Gandhi transformed the independence movement from an elite-led debate into a mass struggle. He understood the soul of India, traveling across the country, clad in a simple loincloth, urging people to spin their own cloth, boycott British goods, and peacefully defy unjust laws. His charisma and philosophy inspired millions. The 1920s and 30s were defined by massive nationwide campaigns led by Gandhi. The non-cooperation movement, the Dandi Salt March in 1930, where Gandhi and his followers walked 240 miles to the sea to make their own salt in defiance of the British salt tax. These events captured the world's attention. They showed that the moral force of a united, peaceful people could challenge a mighty empire. The British responded with arrests and repression. Thousands of freedom fighters, including leaders like Jawaharlal Nehru and Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel, spent years in prison. But the spirit of freedom could not be jailed. While Gandhi's nonviolent path was the dominant force, it wasn't the only one. Revolutionary figures like Bhagat Singh, Sukhdev, and Rajguru believed in armed struggle. Their fearless defiance and ultimate sacrifice made them icons, inspiring a different kind of patriotism. Subhas Chandra Bose, another charismatic leader, initially a part of the Congress, eventually broke away. During World War II, he sought help from the Axis powers and formed the Indian National Army, or Azad Hind Fauj, to fight the British militarily. These different streams of the freedom struggle, though varied in method, all flowed towards the same ocean: independence. World War II was the final nail in the coffin of the British Empire. Britain emerged victorious but economically shattered. It no longer had the resources or the political will to maintain its vast empire. At home, the Labour government, elected in 1945, was sympathetic to the cause of Indian independence. The question was no longer if India would be free, but how. And this is where the story takes its most tragic turn. The relationship between the Indian National Congress, which envisioned a secular, united India, and the Muslim League, led by Muhammad Ali Jinnah, had deteriorated. Jinnah, once a proponent of Hindu-Muslim unity, now fiercely advocated for a separate nation for Muslims to be called Pakistan. He feared that in a united Hindu-majority India, Muslim rights and culture would be undermined. The British, in their haste to leave, failed to broker a lasting compromise. The Direct Action Day called by the Muslim League in 1946 led to horrific communal riots in Calcutta, and the violence spread like wildfire across northern India. Trust had been completely broken. Faced with an escalating civil war, the last viceroy, Lord Mountbatten, sped up the timeline for independence. He presented a plan to partition British India into two independent dominions, a Hindu-majority India and a Muslim-majority Pakistan. The partition line, drawn up hastily by a British lawyer who had never been to India before, cut through villages, homes, and hearts. On August 14, 1947, Pakistan was created. At the stroke of midnight, on August 15, 1947, India gained its independence. Prime Minister Jawaharlal, Nehru's famous speech spoke of a tryst with destiny, but this destiny was born in the crucible of partition, one of the largest and most violent migrations in human history. Around 15 million people were displaced. Hindus and Sikhs on the Pakistani side rushed to get to India. Muslims on the Indian side fled towards Pakistan. In the chaos, an estimated 1 to 2 million people were killed in brutal communal violence. The joy of freedom was forever stained by the bloodshed of partition. The legacy of this division continues to shape the politics of South Asia to this day. In the years that followed, India embarked on the monumental task of building a nation. Under the leadership of figures like Nehru and the Iron Man of India, Sardar Patel, who integrated over 500 princely states into the Union, India adopted a democratic constitution. It established itself as a secular republic, a beacon of democracy in a post-colonial world. The journey has been challenging, marked by wars, poverty, and internal conflicts. But it has also been a story of incredible progress, resilience, and diversity. The story of Indian independence is not just a chapter in a history book. It's a living legacy. It is a reminder of the price of freedom and the power of ordinary people to achieve the extraordinary. It's a complex tapestry woven with threads of sacrifice, unity, division, and hope. A story that continues to unfold with every passing day. Thanks for watching our deep dive into this pivotal moment in world history. If you found this journey enlightening, please hit that like button, subscribe to our channel, and ring the bell so you don't miss our next exploration. What part of this history resonates with you the most? Let us know in the comments below. See you next time.